Tackle AI. Improving the skills and competences of vet teachers and trainers in the age of artificial intelligence.
Hi, I'm Susan. In this video, I'll show you, what is DigComp Edu and what does it say about the competences required from teachers and trainers. For years, technology has been evolving and forming an important part of our daily life. Gone are the times in which the only way to connect was phone or mail. Today smartphones and tablets can take them anywhere and be continuously connected to the world. In the same way, all professions today are increasingly demanding with their workers regarding the skills they have to develop for effective work, adapted to all people and therefore with more value. Seeing the gaps that are in the profession of educators in terms of their digital skills, the European Commission decided to develop the DigComp Edu to create a common frame of reference for educators, to be able to know what could be evaluated and know where they are to continue developing in digital competences. DigComp Edu is a scientifically sound framework that helps guide policy and can be directly adapted to implement regional and national tools and training programs. In addition, it offers a common language and approach that will help dialogue and the exchange of good practices across borders. The DigComp Edu study is based on the previous work carried out to define the digital competence of the citizens, in general, which we will deal with in the next point, and the digitally competent education organizations, DigComp.org. It contributes to the Commission's endorsed Skills Agenda for Europe and to the Europe 2020 Flagship Initiative Agenda for New Skills for New Jobs. The DigComp Edu framework of the Joint Research Centre, JRC, is aimed at educators at all educational levels. The development of the framework has been based on the analysis, mapping and grouping of the elements that constitute the digital competence of the educators, as detailed in the existing national and international frameworks, the self-assessment tools and the certification schemes. Areas of the DigComp Edu. The DigComp Edu framework identify 6 different areas in which the digital competence of educators is expressed with a total of 22 competences. The 6 areas are the following. Professional engagement. Educators' digital competence is expressed in their ability to use digital technologies not only to enhance teaching, but also for their professional interactions with colleagues, learners, parents and other interested parties, for their individual professional development and for the collective good and continuous innovation in the organization and the teaching profession. Digital resources. Educators are currently confronted with a wealth of digital, educational, resources they can use for teaching. One of the key competencies any educator needs to develop is to come to terms with this variety, to effectively identify resources that best fit their learning objectives, learner group and teaching style, to structure the wealth of materials, establish connections and to modify, add on to and develop themselves digital resources to support their teaching. Teaching and learning. Digital technologies can enhance and improve teaching and learning strategies in many different ways. However, whatever pedagogic strategy or approach is chosen, the educator's specific digital competence lies in effectively orchestrating the use of digital technologies in the different phases and settings of the learning process. The fundamental competence in this area, and maybe of the whole framework, is 3.1, teaching. This competence refers to designing, planning and implementing the use of digital technologies in the different stages of the learning process. Assessment. Assessment can be a facilitator or bottleneck to innovation in education. When integrating digital technologies into learning and teaching, we must consider how digital technologies can enhance existing assessment strategies. At the same time, we must also consider how they can be used to create or to facilitate innovative assessment approaches. Digitally competent educators should be able to use digital technologies within assessment with those 2 objectives in mind. Empowering learners. One of the key strengths of digital technologies in education is their potential for supporting learner-centered pedagogic strategies and boosting the active involvement of learners in the learning process and their ownership of it. Thus, digital technologies can be used to facilitate learners' active engagement. For example, when exploring a topic, experimenting with different options or solutions, understanding connections, coming up with creative solutions or creating an artifact and reflecting on it. Facilitating learners' digital competences. Digital competence is one of the transversal competences educators need to instill in learners. Whereas fostering other transversal competences is only part of educators' digital competence in as far as digital technologies are used to do so. The ability to facilitate learners' digital competence is an integral part of educators' digital competence. Because of this ability merits a dedicated area in the DIG-COMP-EDU framework. Learners' digital competence is captured by the European Digital Competence Framework for Citizens. Thus, the DIG-COMP-EDU area follows the same logic and details 5 competences aligned in content and description with DIG-COMP. The headlines, however, have been adapted to emphasize the pedagogical dimension and focus within this framework.
Co-funded by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union. More information you can find at www.tackli.eu.